Alright guys, here's the solar inverter I was talking about. This bit here is stainless steel, the front. It is painted, but it'll just go as dirty stainless because it's also got these badges on it that I can't get off. I can pop that screen out once I've taken it off. But yeah, it'll go as dirty stainless. And then I've got the black bit down here that you can just see is cast aluminium. And then I've got a big extruded aluminium heatsink on it. So I'm just using a star head, it's a T20 to undo the front, and these bolts should be stainless steel. I'll just grab a magnet and check. But they should also be stainless steel because it is an outdoor item, and you'll find most outdoor items, well, especially electronics, like lights and stuff like that, will have stainless steel bolts and nuts and screws and stuff. So I'll just sit that there and get a magnet. Just an old magnet out of a hard drive. Yep. Non-magnetic, so it's stainless. So there's 6 of them. There's 3 down each side. Right, a little bit of ribbon wire, just snip that. And there's, well, actually I don't know if it's stainless or aluminium. Oh no, it's stainless. So yeah, you're gonna have to take that off, and this will come off fairly easily. I'll take that off later. But yeah, take that edge off, take that out. And this is what we've got. In here is electric motors, motherboards, really good wire just here. And then down the bottom here, it's like a rubber foam they spray in, sort of like sea foam. You just got to dig that out. It's a pain in the bum. But as my mate Dan, the scrapper, showed me the other day, you dig that out, and inside that is quite a nice lot of electric motors. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good sized electric motors. They look similar to a ballast from a light, but a lot better copper on them. And this is actually alright because most of these boards, one down here, has quite a few tantalum capacitors on it for you micro scrappers. So it's got tantalum capacitors, a few gold band oscillators here. Yes, it's got quite some goodies. So it's quite a good one. So I'll start digging into it. Oop. Just some ribbon. You can cut the ends off if you like, and some yards take it as medium grade, but I just throw it as low grade with ends on. And now go through, I'll cut one of these a bit short just to show you. So this one here, you can see it's quite thick with copper, but unfortunately, usually that goes high grade, but unfortunately because it is very fine hair, like hair copper, it goes as number 1, not even bright and shiny, because bright and shiny has to be a certain gauge, and this is very, very thin stuff. So they call it hair wire. So if you do strip it, it goes as number 1 copper. If you don't strip it, some yards will give you high grade prices, but a lot of yards will give you medium grade because it's not very good for recovery. Because, well, not as good as high grade for recovery, because once you strip it down, it's yeah, not that great. And once they start to melt the copper down, they lose quite a large percentage of it. So a lot of yards won't buy it as high grade, but some will. You just got to find the yard that does. Right, these look like some pretty good boards. There's a lot of small electric motors, like these little fuse boxes here. Some yards buy them as capacitors. My yard buys them as electric motor because they've got a good chunk of number 2 copper inside them. So my yard just lets me throw them in iron electric motor. So instead of getting, I think it's about $1.30 for electric motors. I get about 70 cents for electric motor ironing. So like iron alley sort of thing, but with electric motors. Actually, I might test that with a magnet. I'm pretty sure it'll be steel, but yeah, it's steel. So that's not worth anything. That just goes in my little tub here because I tend to collect all my screws and nuts and all that because you never know when you're going to need one. So I'll undo all these power and earth leads, and then I'll undo the board and give you a look at the board. And on the ends of these, like the little bits that screw down, I don't know if you can quite see that, I might snip it. These bits here that are on the end of your wire, 99.99% of the time they are brass. So they don't connect. So throw them, you can snap that little bit off there, the circle, snap it off, throw it in clean brass. Or you can just throw the whole lot into irony brass or domestic brass or whatever your yard calls it, brass number 2. So brass with any connections on it that's not clean. So yeah, I like to just throw them in there. Alright, undo this board, there's one here. I do have an electric drill, as Dan keeps pointing out I need one. But yeah, I'm inside tonight because weather's a bit how you're going, and it's also very dark outside. So I'm just using my hand tonight. As Pink says, me and my hand tonight. Right, there's one back here. There's quite a lot of screws in this, guys, so bear with me. Okay. Electric motor. Alright, so that there goes as electric motor. It is number 2 copper, so I don't worry about stripping them. That goes as electric motor. That goes as electric motor. These also go as electric motor. And if you pop these open, oh, I won't pop one open now. Actually, can you grab one of the ones I've already done off the workbench, please? So they're the same as a car fuse. They've got like a little spool of copper inside them, and it is copper number 2, but I personally think they're worth stripping.
Oh, that one of them.
There should be one with a coil of wire on it, a real skinny one, on the other side of the stripping machine.
Oh, yeah. That one?
Yep.
What about those little ones?
No, that's it there. Oh, both of them, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'll show you. They've got these inside them, same as car fuses. I am going to make a video on how I strip these down for the copper, but that's in one of my micro scrapping episodes. So you do get a fair amount of copper off them, but it goes as number 2 copper because you see how shiny it is. It's got a lacquer on it, so you can't have it as number 1. And it's very, very, very thin, like hair wire. So every single one of these have it in it, even the black ones, but the black ones are gel coated, like they've got a gel inside, so I just throw that in my capacitor bin or electric motors, because these are copper capacitors. And then you've got these ones here, they come in all different sizes. They're your aluminium capacitors. They're not worth cutting off the board because I get iron aluminium for the whole board. And then you've got here these little gold things here. They're gold band, I think they're the gold band oscillators. Yeah, they're the gold band oscillators. Then you've got, I don't have one on this board, but usually you'll have a little crystal. They're like a little oval looking thing. And then these here, or not these ones, but you've got some here like this. They'll have gold legs on them and a bit of gold inside. They're MLCCs. They're good for gold collection. I don't tend to collect a lot of it because for me, gold collection's not worth it because I don't have the license to have all the chemicals. And to buy all the chemicals is a lot of bloody money. So I don't worry about it. I usually just take the capacitors off it, or the fuses, the electric motors, and then the rest of it just goes to Iron Alley. Or I've got a mate that'll buy it off me for the oscillators. So yeah, that's just a low grade board once I pull everything off it. At the moment, it's a medium grade board. To people that do buy boards, I just throw mine in Iron Alley because my yard buys it as Iron. But yeah, once I take all these off, because it's only good for a little bit of aluminium collection, a little bit of brass collection, because I don't worry about snapping them off. Yeah, it just goes as low grade. More ribbon wire. These here is what I wanted to see. Now these here are just struts. If they're non-magnetic, 9 times out of 10 they're stainless steel, but on the odd occasion you will get brass. So if it's non-magnetic, make sure you scratch it and check. And that's magnetic, so it's worthless. Well, not worthless, it's worth 18 cents a kilo, is what my yard pays. Some yards pay up to 25 cents. So yeah, for me, I don't have the space to collect steel, so I don't collect steel. I usually just, things like that, I'll usually just throw in a bin. Because yeah, it's just not worth it to me. Alright, here's the other board I was talking about. Now this one has a couple of tiny, tiny, tiny little gold bands on it. And then these ones here get a good view of it. Them ones there. They're the crystal, what are they called? Crystal band oscillator. Not crystal band oscillators. They're crystal oscillators anyway. They've got a bit of, oh, what's that bloody metal called? Yeah, they've got a tiny little bit of silver in them, and then they've got tantalum. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But if you go across to see, if you're into your scrapping videos, go across and see E-Waste Ben or Dan the Scrapper, and they've got a lot more information on it. I'm, not real good with micro scrapping, so that there to me is just a medium grade board. It's not worth anything, not worth me stripping personally. That's just CPU fan. You can either take the steel off the back and throw it as dirty motor, or you can crack that open and get the copper out of it. They do have a good amount of copper in it for how small the motor is. You'd get probably, I don't know, 30 grams maybe. So not a lot, but considering the motor's that big, it's decent. But I usually just throw it in dirty motors. Now this one here is the one I want you to see. See all of them? The big chunky ones? They're all good for gold collection. All these big squares. Get everything out of the way so you can see a bit better. And then you've got electric mode. Oh, you've got a heatsink here, which is extruded aluminium. You've got electric motors. These goes electric motors. These motors. There's so many in here. And then as I said, back here, I've got to dig them out. But they're about 700 grams each. So they're good. But they are good for copper recovery as well. If you're into that sort of thing. As I said, I don't have the time. And to me, it's not worth the effort. But if you are in for copper recovery, go for gold. And then you've got these ones back here. Even though they are tiny and no bigger than a 5-cent piece, they are electric motors, so they still go in electric motor bin because they're, for the size, they are really good for copper recovery. Sometimes these clamps here can be brass, rarely, but sometimes they can. If not, they're either aluminium or sheet steel, so not worth anything. Yeah, so I'll kind of pause the video here, get all this down, and then I'll show you how to take the back off, which is the big aluminium heatsink. That's the hard bit, getting down to that. Not taking the thing off, just getting down to it is the hard bit. Alright, so I'll pause this and I'll be back in a minute. Thanks, guys. Alright, now this is a micro scrapper's dream. Little gold band oscillators. There's a couple of tantalums. Oh, there's just absolutely everything on here. There's a nice little heatsink, a couple of motors, all them little motors. Yes, they're only little, but they do add weight, so it takes 2 seconds to pluck them off and throw them in the bin. Literally, grab a pair of vice grips, open them up just a touch. Boom, they're off. Adds weight. Not a lot of weight, but adds weight. So may as well do it. So a few seconds per one. Oop, that one split. Bloody dogs. Come on inside. Yeah, so not too bad. Like, I could go and pluck all these off and not too phased about it. I'm going to take the fuses off and motors off. Yeah, try this one. I'm pretty sure these are brass. Usually they are, sometimes they're steel. No, them ones are brass. So as I said, you can pluck them off if you want. A lot of people think they're aluminium, but 90% of the time they're brass. Sometimes they can be aluminium, but just give them a little scratch on top with a file, and if it comes up gold, it's brass. If it comes up silver, it's aluminium. But yeah, 90% of the time they tend to be brass because power gets connected to it. So brass is a better conductor than aluminium. So yeah, I finally got this bad boy empty. And boy, was it a hassle. And since I last recorded, it's been about half an hour, 45 minutes. Absolute nightmare, but well worth it. Well worth it. Now undo some more screws. Now I'm hoping this comes up not too painfully because it's all unscrewed, but sometimes under this end where the electric motors are, sometimes they have some Sikaflex, which is that really black tarry stuff they put windscreens in with. I'm hoping not. Okay, it's going to be painful. Okay, it's time to have a bit of a wrestle. Just go around with a blade, just trim the edges. Okay, this is going to be mighty painful. Okay, 1 second. Headphone warning. Oh, yeah. She's on there. He's coming. Don't buy cheap screwdrivers. Ooh. Whoops. Bloody hell. Alright. Alright, I'm going to fiddle with that later. But it's definitely coming off, whether I have to angle grind it or not. Because extruded aluminium is the best price. On closer inspection as well, guys. Inspection, sorry. On closer inspection, this outside feels to be more stainless steel. So I'll have to get the grinder out tomorrow and have a look. But it's got a few welds here and there, but it's also looking like cast. So I'm not sure. I'll have to check it. yeah, as I said, this is the first time I've taken one of these apart, so I'm not sure. I still am only learning. I might spend the time to take them apart in a different video as well. It is micro scrapping, but there's a nice bit of brass in there and still a little bit of wire, so it's not too hard. You pop a little screwdriver in there and pop the top off. It's very self-explanatory. But with brass and copper the prices they are at the moment, you know, they weren't as good as they were, but they're still quite high, so may as well. And it only takes a few seconds, so, but I'm not going to do it in this video. This video is already getting quite long. I might also end this video here and make another video of getting out the bloody heatsink, because it's been an absolute pain in the bum, and getting out these motors, because digging the stuff out, it's not too hard. Like literally, you can even take your Stanley knife, cut through it a few times, you know. Then you get flat blade screwdriver, and you can dig most of it out. So I'm not too phased tonight anyway. I've been doing stuff all day, so I'm starting to get a bit tired. It is 9 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna yeah, just end this video here and get back to it in the morning, and yeah, do another video of taking off the heatsink, taking out the motors, maybe doing a little bit of like micro scrapping, pulling apart the, sorry, camera's over here, pulling apart the like the fuses and pulling all these things out, and then I'll show you how to tear these down. Quite easy. But yeah, the video's getting quite long. Like last one was, well, last film was 13 minutes or 14 minutes, and this one is now 14 minutes. So we're getting up there around the half hour, 35 minutes. So yeah, I think I'll end it. Again, if you want to get right into the micro scrapping and, you know, fully clean a board of the MLCCs and the tantalum capacitors and the gold band oscillators and the crystals and all that sort of stuff, go across and see E-Waste Ben. He's a bloke from Melbourne, really good YouTuber. Also, if you want to see like more of this sort of stuff and air conditioners and wire stripping and just a good all-round bloke, go across and see Dan the Scrapper. He's lower Queensland, I'm pretty sure, and yeah, his videos are brilliant. Like he gets right down into the nitty-gritty and shows you every little thing. He doesn't just go, this is what you do, go do it. He'll show you everything, and he's the one that got me on to stripping inverters, because I used to just take them in as Inie Alley, and I realised I'm losing quite a lot of money, because Inie Alley is like, I think 60 cents, something around that, 55 cents, 60 cents, and extruded aluminium alone, I would get what I paid for this, $5, I would get in the aluminium heatsink alone, because the heatsink weighs about 3.5 to 4 kilos, and at the moment extruded aluminium's just under the $2 mark. So Alley's on the way up a little bit and copper's on the way down a little bit, so it still weighs out. So with the electric motors, the wire, the aluminium, the stainless steel, and all the bits and bobs I'm getting out of it, probably looking around the $15 to $20 range. So, personal opinion, is it worth cashing in and getting $5 or $6 for a Ziny Alley? No. Is it worth stripping? Bloody oath. And I paid $5 for this one just so I could make a video for you guys, and I'm very, very, very happy. So I'll definitely be hunting these out again. They do come up on Facebook quite often, you know, big lots for like $100, so I might start buying them. Yeah. So for now, I'll hop off and make you another video in the morning. Thanks guys. Like, subscribe. As I said, go over and give Dan a like. Tell him Happy Scrapper sent you. Give Ben a like and tell him Happy Scrapper sent you. And yeah, as Dan would say, ring the ba-ding and keep up to date with all my videos. Thanks guys.